I am Sadie Bell, a 30-year-old housewife. I recently moved to this area. I have been gradually getting closer to the local moms, but there is one who is troublesome. Sadie, are you wearing only branded clothes again today? Don't tell me you chose them just to show off to me. That's not true. I just like these clothes and wear them for no particular reason. You just want to show off how wealthy you are, don't you? She is Cheryl, my younger sister, and she lives nearby. Cheryl has a son who is the same age as my daughter. His name is Solomon, and he goes to the same kindergarten. It seems Cheryl does not have a good impression of me. She always throws sarcastic remarks at me and seems to be spreading rumors about me to the neighbors. Yet, it is strange that she keeps trying to contact me. She is my twin sister, and we have been compared by our parents since we were young. The fact that people around us do not realize we are twins is probably because we are fraternal. I was never particularly bothered by it, but she has always felt competitive towards me. As we grew up, I tried to keep my distance except at family gatherings, but due to my husband's job transfer, I had no choice but to move to the area where she lives. Somehow, that day she said she was bringing her son to visit. Aren't you going to offer even a cup of tea when you have guests? I'll prepare it now, just wait a bit. You have those famous snacks prepared too, right? You asked me that yesterday, so I have them ready. I'll bring them out now. Cheryl was always unreserved like this. Especially that day, her attitude was noticeable. After drinking tea and eating lots of snacks, Cheryl suddenly started looking around every room in the house. Isn't this bag a new model? Yes, my husband gave it to me for my birthday. By the way, what kind of work does your husband do again? Well, he kind of runs a company. When asked about my husband's job, I vaguely dodged the question. In reality, my husband was not running a company, but talking about it seemed like it would lead to trouble, so I skillfully evaded the truth. If he's running a company, that means you have a lot of income. Can't you give me that bag? LOL. I can't do that. It's a gift from my husband. If he's a boss, he can buy you a new one, LOL. It wouldn't hurt to give me just one, right? LOL. Whenever Cheryl came over, she always wanted other people's things like this. It seemed she also begged other moms for things in the same way. Though she never actually took anything back with her, her brazen attitude always exhausted me. Can you stop already? This is my house, so please stop rummaging through things on your own. We're family, right? LOL, that should be fine. Can I open that closet over there too? LOL. Normally, she would stop searching after about 10 minutes, but for some reason she kept going that day. Suddenly, a loud noise came from outside. The sound was so intense that I went outside to see what had happened. What? I was astonished by the scene before me. Our car had been brutally damaged, and there was Solomon holding a metal bat near the car. Did you break it with the bat, Solomon? LOL. Cheryl seemed amused. Solomon slowly nodded. He did it, LOL. What a mess, huh? LOL. Hey, why are you grinning like that? Unable to endure Cheryl's apparent joy, I just had to ask. I'm not grinning. LOL. I'm just shocked. That's all. LOL. This is something important that my husband bought for the sake of our family. So how much did this cost? It looks quite expensive. I think it was about $50,000. Wow, really? But, you know, he's just a child, so it can't be helped, right? That's not right. Just because he's a child, it doesn't mean that he can do whatever he wants without consequences, right? When I said that, Cheryl nodded without any resistance. We're sisters. Don't you think you could speak a little nicer? Are you trying to get money from me? What are you talking about? Even if we are sisters, it's normal to take responsibility for mistakes, right? Sorry, but you need to take full responsibility for this. At these words, Cheryl gradually began to show irritation. What absurd thing are you saying? I have no intention of paying any money. You're wealthy, so why are you getting so worked up over this? You have plenty of money, so just calm down a bit. Cheryl's words also infuriated me. Even if it was the child's doing, shouldn't you apologize first? Why are there no words of apology? Shut up. It's ridiculous to get so angry over a child's prank. LOLL. Ha. Stunned by her unexpected words, I was taken aback. Cheryl seemed to misunderstand, thinking I was intimidated. I'll tell your husband. And I'll tell our parents too. I hadn't mentioned this yet, but when my husband gets angry, it's truly terrifying, you know. Ever heard he's like someone from the mafia? If you don't want him to find out, you better stop joking about making me take responsibility. LOL. Even if your husband is a terrifying person, you can't escape responsibility. No matter what you say, my stance won't change. Cheryl must have thought that bringing up her husband's fearsomeness would silence me. Despite what Cheryl's husband might be like, I wasn't scared at all. Sadie, what do you think my husband would say if you cause any trouble? He might come and make you suffer, but are you okay with that? By the way, which organization does your husband belong to? That's none of your business, as you have nothing to do with the mafia. Anyway, you should sort out the car issue yourselves. Why don't you ask your husband to buy a new one? So you really intend not to take responsibility? That's what I'm saying. LOL. This is what you deserve. Cheryl said this while glancing at the damaged car. Something was apparently amusing to her, because Cheryl started to laugh. What do you mean this is what I deserve? Because you flaunt your wealth, it's divine retribution. Besides, Solomon probably did it because he hates you, right? Isn't that right? Confronted by Cheryl, Solomon looked down. It seemed clear Solomon had done it, but something about his demeanor was off. So, you're not going to apologize or pay for the repairs. It wasn't me who did it, so why should I? All right then. I'll contact the boss. Excuse me. Surprised by my unexpected words, Cheryl's eyes widened. Ignoring Cheryl, I made a phone call. After talking for about 5 minutes, I hung up. Who did you call? Like I said, the boss. I told him about the car, and he said he's coming over. When I relayed this, Cheryl suddenly burst out laughing. The boss is coming? That's a joke, right? There's no mafia in this area. LOL. Didn't you say your husband was in the mafia? Yes, but I've never met anyone else who is mafia. LOL. At that moment, Cheryl snatched the metal bat from her son, giving me a creepy look. If you apologize now, I might forgive you. What do you say? LOL. Huh? Why should I apologize to you? I'm sick of your flaunting wealth. Ever since you moved here, all anyone talks about is you. That's why I don't like rich women. It turned out Cheryl had been jealous of me all along. Her behavior up until now had likely stemmed from that envy. I'm not going to apologize. If anything, you should be the one apologizing. I really can't understand how you think you're in the right. Oh, really? LOL, then I'll just destroy this car even more. LOL. Right after saying that, Cheryl began smashing the car violently with the bat. No matter what I said, she wasn't listening at all. At that moment, a black car pulled up in front of the house. A large man stepped out of the vehicle. When Cheryl noticed him, her face froze in shock. Hey, what do you think you're doing to the car I gave Sadie? You don't think I'm just going to let this slide, do you? Who is this guy? Cheryl, now pale, asked me. He's the boss. The boss and my husband. Did you forget? Were you too drunk at the wedding to remember? I calmly explained, and Cheryl looked as if she couldn't believe it. The boss? This has to be a joke, right? It's not a joke. I'm the boss, and I'm Sadie's husband. Wait a minute. You're telling me the boss is Sadie's husband? I had no idea. I kept it quiet because I didn't want to scare everyone. But since your husband is also in the mafia, I figured it was okay to mention it now. Well, oh, so your husband is in the mafia too? At that moment, Cheryl clearly averted her gaze from my husband. While this conversation continued, my brother-in-law returned home with his daughter. They had been out together earlier in the day. Unaware of what had transpired, my brother-in-law looked around in confusion. When I explained the situation to him, he looked at the wrecked car with a disappointed expression. "It was such a nice car that you received as a gift." "I'm sorry. You don't need to worry about it. It's not you who should be apologizing, but this woman who needs to clean up her mess," my husband said sharply, glaring at Cheryl. This was just an accident. It's no one's fault. Just an accident. It was your child who did it, right? Parents are responsible for their children's actions. Don't you even understand that? I'm sorry. Make sure you take responsibility for what your child did. Ideally, I would want $200,000, the price of the car, but I'll settle for $150,000. Got it. Hearing the figure of $150,000, Cheryl's face turned pale instantly. She then began to plead with us. "I'm sorry. I don't have that kind of money." "You don't have it? It was your child who damaged the car, right? And you were hitting it too, weren't you?" "I'm truly sorry. If apologies were enough, we wouldn't need police." My husband continued, his gaze fixed sternly on Cheryl. Cheryl's expression grew so distressed it looked like she might cry. "Isn't your husband in the mafia too? What organization is he from?" My husband's question was met with silence. Cheryl didn't respond. "Why aren't you answering?" "That is." Cheryl turned her face away, visibly frightened. Then, my brother-in-law revealed a surprising truth. "Your husband works at ABC Corporation, right?" "Yes." "How do you know that?" "I was involved in a project with ABC Corporation for work recently. I was surprised to find out I was working on the same project as your husband and had no idea he lived next to my brother." The story we heard was completely different, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Why did you say he was in the mafia?" "I thought if I said he was in the mafia, nobody would dare to contradict me." "Are you kidding me? Are you making fools of us?" "No, that's not it at all." Unable to escape my husband's questioning, tears welled up in Cheryl's eyes. Being cornered by a stern, imposing man would intimidate anyone. Then, my husband handed his smartphone to Cheryl and commanded, "Call your husband right now. Tell him to come here." "I don't think it's necessary to call him. You said you can't pay the $150,000. Call him now. I can't tell him about this." "No more excuses. So you're going to prepare the $150,000 then?" "I can't do that." "Then he has to pay, doesn't he? Hurry up and call." Cheryl, looking like she was about to cry, stubbornly refused to make the call. At that moment, I decided to step in. "I'll make the call." "Do you know his number?" "Yes, we exchanged numbers just in case." "Good. Then please make the call." Then I called Cheryl's husband. Luckily, he answered right away. "What did he say?" "He said he's on his way here now. However, he's far away on business, so it will take at least 3 hours to arrive." "Can't be helped. Let's wait until her husband comes back." So, we decided to wait inside the house for Cheryl's husband to arrive. During the wait, Cheryl was constantly frightened, glancing at my husband's face. After 3 hours, Cheryl's husband finally arrived. It was the first time we had met since the wedding, but he seemed calm and far from what one would call a bad person. "I'm truly sorry for the trouble my wife and son have caused. I sincerely apologize. It's unfortunate that our reunion is under these circumstances, and I deeply regret it." Upon entering the house, Cheryl's husband apologized. It seemed he was a decent person. "You two should apologize as well." He instructed Cheryl and her son to apologize. At that moment, Solomon, who had been quiet, suddenly started to cry. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for damaging the car." Solomon repeatedly apologized, tears streaming down his face. Seeing this, My heart was heavy. Then, Solomon began to reveal something astonishing. Mom said she would kick me out of the house if I didn't hit the car. I really didn't want to damage it. My teacher even says it's not good to destroy other people's things. I'm really sorry. After finishing, Solomon broke down crying. Cheryl, standing beside him, turned pale and panicked. "Hey, is that true?" Cheryl's husband could not contain his anger and confronted her. "I'm sorry. Threatening Solomon to do such a thing is insane. What are you thinking making a child go through this?" I couldn't help it. Seeing Sadie living such a luxurious life, I just couldn't stand it. For such a foolish reason, you made your child do this. If you earned more and allowed us to live a luxurious life like Sadie, none of this would have happened. It's all because of your low income. Cheryl was lashing out at her husband. Cheryl's husband just sighed without saying anything. "What? Are you saying it's my fault?" "Anyone would say your way of thinking is wrong. You're not doing these things behind my back to others, are you?" "Of course not." Hearing this, Solomon wiped his tears and began to speak the truth. "Mom always talks bad about my friends' moms. She tried to take things quietly, and even when I told her that stealing is wrong, she told me to shut up and took various things. She also told me not to be friends with certain kids because she didn't like them, or to take things that were important to them, which was really tough. And then my friends would call me a thief, and it made me really sad." "Wait a minute. I told you to keep that a secret from Dad. I bought you snacks because you promised to keep it a secret. Why did you tell?" Cheryl scolded Solomon. "You said I could leave Solomon's matters to you, so I trusted you and focused on my work, and you still made him this sad and you call yourself a mother. I've been taking care of things at home for Solomon's sake. Solomon knows that, right?" "Yes, but..." "There were times when Mom got really angry when I didn't listen to her and she wouldn't let me eat. I was so hungry, and it was really tough." "Don't talk nonsense." Just as Cheryl was about to strike Solomon, my husband grabbed her hand. "You're the one being unreasonable. Just because you can overpower him doesn't mean you should impose your whims on him. Teaching him wrong will only turn him into a misguided adult. Don't you understand that as a mother?" Cheryl, faced with my husband's stern rebuke, could not muster a reply and fell silent. Her previously assertive demeanor disappeared, replaced by sudden quietness. That's when Cheryl's husband began to speak. "I'm honestly shocked to see this side of you. I can no longer believe anything you say. There's no need to go that far. I will take care of Solomon by myself from now on. I can't trust you with him anymore. Please, don't involve yourself with Solomon going forward. It's impossible for me not to be involved. I want a divorce. Please leave the house." Cheryl was visibly shocked by the sudden declaration of divorce. You can't just decide to divorce all of a sudden. You can't possibly raise Solomon by yourself. I can't trust you anymore. Moreover, I can't let Solomon continue to suffer because of you. Are you saying you want to take his mother away from him? That's too cruel. You aren't acting like a mother to Solomon. It looks like you're just using him for your own convenience. That's not true. And this isn't the place to discuss such things. Cheryl, while looking around and blushing, glanced at us. "I don't want Solomon to become someone like you. Your presence only seems to negatively influence him. Am I really such a bad person? Why do you have to say such things to me? You seem to have lost the ability to discern right from wrong." I'm appalled. "And you've been neglecting your family all this time, acting all high and mighty now. Who do you think you are? I was foolish to have ever believed your words. I should have never accepted a job away from home. I should have stayed by Solomon's side." Cheryl yelled passionately, "I won't allow a divorce." It's persistent. Let's talk about the divorce again when we get home. Discussing it here will only trouble everyone else, her husband replied calmly. Cheryl still seemed dissatisfied and wore a displeased expression. After a moment of silence, my husband quietly resumed the conversation. Returning to the original topic, you will be responsible for all the repair costs of the car, right? I can't possibly pay such a large amount. And we haven't settled the matter of the divorce yet. I've said this multiple times, but you have to take responsibility. It might have been the child who did it, but you made him do it. You can't blame the child anymore. You need to clean up your own mess without making excuses and dragging others into this. My husband said sternly to Cheryl, "Yes, but $150,000 is simply beyond what I can afford. I'm a housewife with no income. I can't prepare such an amount. Could you please consider reducing it just a bit more?" Cheryl pleaded meekly with my husband. However, my husband coldly responded, "No, I've already cut down the amount significantly by asking for $150,000. I can't reduce it any further." Hearing this, Cheryl looked desperately at her own husband. "It was Solomon who did it. Can you please cover half the cost? Please." "Why should I pay half? We're getting a divorce, so it's no longer my concern." "I know we're divorcing, but this isn't just about the divorce. It's about Solomon and our family. You can't just say it's none of your concern." Cheryl, on the verge of tears, clung to her husband, but he refused to nod in agreement. "It was you who made him do it, so it's not my problem. Plus, I'll need money for Solomon's upbringing going forward. I'm just an ordinary man with a modest salary. You know, I can't afford such a large amount. You caused this, so you need to take responsibility yourself." Seeing that even her husband had turned coldly away from her, Cheryl faced another blow when Solomon also spoke up against her. "Mom, you're being scolded because you did something wrong, right? Dad didn't do anything bad, so I don't think it's right for him to apologize or pay money." "You're saying that too, Solomon? You don't love Mom anymore, do you?" "I don't love you anymore. I hate it when you're always angry. I want to be with Dad from now on. I don't want to be with you." Solomon said this and turned away, sitting down on the sofa. Cheryl seemed shocked by her son's rejection. Then, she turned to me with a pleading look. "Sadie, I apologize for everything I've done to you. I was wrong. I truly regret what happened with the car. So could you please consider waiving the repair costs? If things continue this way, even my parents might abandon me. I really don't have any money. I'm sorry, but I can't make the repair costs zero." As I spoke clearly, Cheryl's eyes began to well up with tears even more. "Why would you say that? Aren't we like sisters? We've been getting along all this time. You could help me out a little, couldn't you?" "Getting along? That's hard to ignore. You've been spreading rumors about me to the other moms, dumping trash at my house, and weren't you the one who left a dead animal at my doorstep? Where's the getting along in all of that? I regret doing those things. I already told you that the car was a gift from my husband to me and our family. How can anyone forgive having such a gift destroyed?" I couldn't forgive Cheryl and dismissed her with these words. Hearing this, my husband offered her a suggestion. "In that case, why not work at a factory to earn the money? I have a connection there. They were looking for workers, and I think you could start working right away if I call them." "What kind of job is it at the factory?" "It's not dangerous, is it?" "It's not dangerous. It's certainly better than working on a fishing boat. It does require some physical strength, though. I might find it difficult to do physical work." Cheryl hesitated, showing reluctance to take on a physically demanding job. "Not the time to be picky about jobs, is it? If you keep complaining, I might just raise it back to $200,000. My husband warned Cheryl, leaving her speechless. With that, Cheryl and her family returned home to discuss their future. After much discussion, the divorce was finalized, and Cheryl was employed at a factory run by an acquaintance of my husband, where she would live and work. I got an update on Cheryl from my husband. "Your sister is struggling quite a bit since she has little work experience. But the place is full of tough-looking guys like me, so she doesn't talk back at all and just keeps working quietly. It must be tough working surrounded by people who look like you," I joked. "Tough? Maybe we look intimidating, but we're all good-hearted," he laughed. "Really? That's funny to hear from you. But earning $150,000 seems like it will take a long time. Cheryl might even quit the job halfway through. No need to worry about that. If she quits, I've made it clear we'll follow her until she pays off the debt. And what if she tries to run away? Well, then we'll have to track her down, take out insurance, and put her on a boat, won't we? He joked with a laugh. Scary, I laughed along. After being abandoned by everyone, Cheryl even went to her parents to ask if they could contribute a little towards the money. Ultimately, her parents didn't give her a single dollar and decided to cut ties with her. It seems that despite being very fond of their daughter in her childhood, they were fed up with her recent behavior. No doubt, they were unwilling to interact with a daughter who would harm her own son and act so selfishly. Furthermore, the incident became known among relatives and friends, and they all started avoiding Cheryl. Later on, Solomon's grandparents moved in to live with him, adding some family support in his household. The parents of Cheryl's ex-husband are involved now. Cheryl's ex-husband felt that raising Solomon alone would be difficult, so he decided to seek help from his parents. Claire's mom, hello. Hello, Solomon. It's nice to see such good weather today, isn't it? Yes, I've been looking forward to this day. Solomon spoke with a beaming smile. Since Cheryl left, Solomon's family has started spending more time together. And they had promised to go to the amusement park in the new car that my husband had recently bought. It feels strange to see you driving since I'm usually driven by my subordinates and sit in the back. When I'm with family, I have to entertain you all. I feel a bit shy about it. You take care of our daughters every day, so today you can lean on me. Though my husband is a fearsome mafia figure, he's gentle and warm at home. Solomon and my husband have become good friends. Solomon, are you sad just having Dad? Not sad. I have not only Dad but also Grandpa and Grandma. That's right. Claire and we are here too. Claire is happy to play a lot with Solomon. Me too. Solomon blushed as he responded. There are more smiles now between my daughter and Solomon than before. My daughter is also happy to play a lot with Solomon. I hope to continue making happy memories in this town.